Hey, I'm Grant. Welcome to Stay the Channel for July 16th. Main thing I want to talk about is I've just put a lot of work into the podcast this week. I don't have the audio one out because I want to actually sit down and edit that on its own. I really wanted 22 to be a good entry point. So if people are like, oh, you make a podcast, like, I want to listen to it. Which one do I listen to? I want 22 to be that. I really like one. I rewatched it a couple times this week, but I feel like it's a little rough, even if I do like the content, and I really wanted 22 to be super relatable, not specific, so we're not talking about a game that only me and Andrew played. We're not talking about a very specific inside joke. I wanted it to start very strong, and it did, and I just really like that. So as part of that, I put a lot of time this week into just the editing, and that took a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie, it is grueling. I still don't know. There's so many things I'd like to do to improve my workflow, but the main thing is just when I'm doing like an ideal edit, like I'm just gonna go get everything I possibly can and adding effects, it's very grueling because you just crawl through it. Basically, every single second, anyone who's not talking needs to have their audio cut, and right now I don't have a good automated way to do that. There's probably one, or there's probably a better mic setup, but I don't have that at the moment. So it's just, I have to go through, be like, who's talking, cut, listen. Really annoying. But I did it, and I also put in effects, which is nice. And I agree. It's one of those things where I agree doing that objectively makes it better. But it adds, if I had to guess, probably 2 hours extra on top of editing it. So it probably knocks it, I'd say maybe from 8 to 10 hours to 10, 12 hours to do it. And that's just killer, because we filmed it on Monday, got it going, so it was ready to start being edited on Tuesday. And then between that and my other activities, like Tuesday I got a big chunk done. Then Wednesday I have D&D, which I streamed. And so that meant I really had after 10:30 to edit it. Didn't get very far. So then it was Wednesday, did my first big pass, and then Thursday it's like I have to get it done so it can come out tomorrow. And then I wanted to do something similar though with the audio, so I didn't want to just rip the audio like I normally do. I would like to, again, have that also be the audio version of the entry point. So I need to go through and I'll edit that, and we'll see. I don't know. It's something where I would love to edit all my audio podcasts. I would, but I really don't think it matters that much, and that would significantly add the time. And that's not even the best edit. Like, ideally, I should edit the audio podcast entirely separately. That would be nice. That would produce the best audio, because you can cut things in the audio you can't in the video. Because if I cut out like an in the audio podcast, you can't tell. If I cut out a in the video podcast, you can tell, because whoever's talking is either silent for a split second or it just cuts forward like half a second. It's really annoying and jarring, but it works for the audio podcast, and I would like to do that potentially. And if I could edit it all as its own source, well, then I can take full advantage of that. Whereas ultimately, if I edit it after the fact, it saves me a ton of time because the majority of the cuts are already done. But then I don't get to do all the fancy stuff, because even just the fact that, should I export it from my editor as a one single waveform and edit that, or should I go to the trouble of getting one for each person and then edit that, but then I have to like merge them and make sure they all go back together? Well, it's a whole thing. But I'd like to do that at some point this week. If not, if it doesn't happen, I can always fall back and do the regular one. We'll see. It was really grueling. I would love to do more of those effects. It's just they really slow down the process, and I'm not against it, but it really relies on me getting the podcast filmed far in advance. Like, ideally, I need 2 weeks to do it. If I have 2 weeks to do the podcast, well, then I can do the effects. But usually I have like 3 to 4 days. And if we do like a full-length one, then it's just grueling. Because that's the other option. Like, maybe if I do it, like if I have to film it on a Wednesday, it comes out on a Friday, I might only be able to do a 30-minute podcast. I don't like doing that. I like having the full hour because I feel like we snowball. It'd be like if we did a 15-minute podcast, that'd be awesome to edit, but you don't really have time to start having good conversations. But if you do the full hour or more, you have great conversations and chemistry, and you just keep rolling. But then editing, converting, exporting, all that just takes forever. Otherwise, also, love the thumbnail. Felt natural. It was an idea from Jamie. Super cool. I'm proud of how it came out, both the thumbnail and the podcast, and I want more stuff like that, but I really need to sit down and maybe find a way to just make that easier. Otherwise, potentially working on a little bit of a D&D project. I stream D&D on Wednesdays, and that's really not for anyone other than myself. I like the idea of like streaming it, being able to sit down and be like, I am going to do this, even if I never expect anyone to watch it. I also like having a recording of it just so I could go back if I ever wanted to. But I'm thinking I'd like to take some of that and maybe try like a one-shot with at least one of my players where I just go through and say, like, we're going to film this. It's just you and me. It's going to be very cinematic focused kind of thing. Just like, let's try this and see how it comes out. And maybe I'll edit that and see what I think of it. Otherwise, still progressing on the Ruby on Rails stuff. I think I'm like a third of the way into the book. It's solid. Like, just looking through the stuff I've already made, like, I have so much more to go. But I can start seeing, like, hey, I can see how I would make this. Now, I can see how I can make the site. I just need to be more disciplined on doing it. It sucks. It really is like you are either crawling or you're going by leaps and bounds of that book, where it's like, sometimes I go read a chapter, it's like, makes sense, do. And other times, it's like, I didn't understand, let me read it again. Oh, hit a bug that they didn't mention. Let me go research that so I can spend the entire day or whatever, the entire session, only doing one page because I had to go deal with some other issue. And that's disheartening. But then it's cool when it succeeds, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, now I have like a site with 3 interactive pages. That's awesome. And I want more of that, but stuff. I am taking today off, just to kind of relax a little bit, and I want to do a couple things with that. I'm going to dedicate a big section of the day to doing Ruby on Rails just because I want to get a good chunk out of the way. I don't know how much I'm going to be doing in the book. Like, I really like that book. It's good. But I assume after a certain point, it's like, here's the extra stuff. And maybe I should start moving to, in tandem, just building the site. And at some point, I need to figure out how I'm going to host the site. That's the big catch. And that's my big fears, actually, is that not being able to find a good way to host it effectively. Like, I hope I don't get to a situation where, like, oh, I only know how to host it with this one service, but either I can do it where it's free, but then the site's only up 12 hours a day, not really a great option, or paying a lot of money for it. Like, that's honestly, I have a huge fear that I'm going to go, like, make the site go live, and then, I don't know, accidentally make my background image some massive AK image, and bots are just downloading it, and it's just killing my, like, data usage, and it's like, all of a sudden I have this huge bill or something. I'm so afraid of that, but I think I'll be okay. I think that's not realistic so long as I keep an eye on that. It's concerning. So, otherwise, no podcast this week, so that's why I wanted to get more of the Ruby on Rails stuff done. Really, until I solve more stuff, I feel like that's going to be the tandem, where it's going to be 1 week where the podcast takes up everything, another week where it's all like Ruby on Rails and side projects. I'd still like to do the OSR stuff, although I admit it kind of bums me out doing that because it takes its own day to do, like not a full day, but like a day after work, and it's less effective in terms of income. Like, I don't get as much out of it as doing something like a podcast sometimes, or doing Ruby on Rails. That's a very nice one-to-one, where it's like I am learning, investing myself, and all that. Whereas the OSR, some stuff, sometimes it comes out and it's like, oh, I spent 4 hours on this. It's okay. Other times it's great though, because I feel like I get all this experience and trying new things, like writing out a script. So sometimes it's good, but I don't know. I feel like really it's too much for me to commit to every Saturday with that. But I feel like if I don't do every Saturday, then I just don't ever make a video. Like, there's the number of times, honestly, with that series, I'm just like, oh, I want to make this video, it'd be cool. But then I like just lose steam because I got to do so much else first. Like, that happened this week because I wanted to make like a little video that was just like a top 5. Like, here, hey, Android mobile just came out for OSRS. Let me do a video on like just neat things you can do with mobile. Like, that were specific to mobile about why they are valuable. And I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome. But let me do A, B, C first. And by the time I got all these other chores and projects and stuff done, and it was like Friday, it's like, I don't want to do the video anymore. And that does happen a lot. And that's unfortunate. Or like I still have that footage for Legacy of Kain that I really want to make, but I just haven't got around to doing it. I just want to kind of, there's so much I want to get done before then. It just seems like everything always takes longer than I expect. And I end up just not having room for it. I don't know. I just need to sit down probably and just finish that, and then it'll be off. Like, I feel like that's what I need. I wish I just had like a month or something where I can just be like, hey, I've done all my backlogs. I've made all the videos I said I was going to make. I've played all the games I'm going to play. I've cleaned my apartment. I've done so much. I've learned Ruby on Rails. Okay, now, fresh start. Don't think that's ever going to come, though. So, unfortunate. we'll see how this week goes, though. I'm hoping to get more Ruby on Rails done. It just can be very grueling to, like, basically read a textbook. And when I can't start until, like, 7 p.m. on a Monday, it's hard to stay focused and learn that fast. But one day I'll have it all down. It's definitely coming faster. Definitely coming faster. But as always, I'm Grant. You can contact me on Twitter. It's at taken4grantd, or my email, it's grant@taken4grantd.com. I'll be back again next week. And I'm going to make a trailer this month. I need to make a new trailer, but I need to wait until I do other projects first. I would like to get the website up before I make the trailer, but every time I look at my trailer, it's like, man, so much has changed. But I don't really know what to talk about in my trailer because I keep changing what I'm doing. So, I don't know. We'll see. Oh yeah, I want to do live action too. That's kind of the start of that. We'll see. That's something I'm vaguely looking at. We'll see. There's a lot of we'll see. I don't know where I'm going to be at. We'll see. We'll see. But thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week.